Hello and good afternoon. My name is Martin Coward. I'm a spiritual teacher, prosperity and mindset coach for gay, transgender, and bisexual men. And we've been creating this virtual sanctuary, if you will, since the beginning of the pandemic as a refuge to come and love and support each other through the drama of the world, a lot of the drama that came on through the pandemic. And my God, did we have some drama last year? Lord, it was one of the most dramatic. It was certainly one of the most difficult, painful years, I think, in the history, in modern history. I mean, here in America for certain. So we're through it now. We're on the other side of it, and we're getting people vaccinated, and people are not dying, and we're actually getting through that pandemic. And we've got leadership in our country right now that actually cares for us, and that feels good. So we're in a good place, and so now we're just about how do we celebrate the people in our lives who care about us and who we care for, and the valuable contribution they made to us during the pandemic, and they're continuing to make for us today as we move into a new way of new normal, if you will. So this month, I've been celebrating extraordinary coaches and caregivers doing ordinary things. And today, I'm so excited to have our guest, Brendan. I met Brendan a few weeks ago when he joined my new Facebook group, Financial Heart Space for Gay, Transgender, and Bisexual Men. And we decided to get on the phone and just get to know each other. And I was so inspired by his story. He's a caregiver. And I'll let him tell you the story, but basically he was a caregiver who learned that, you don't care for yourself, it's hard to care for others. Now he's made a pivot or a change to be more of a caregiver to the caregivers. And it teaches caregivers the value of self-love. They can be more powerful in the care they get. Because you got to be able to receive care in order to give care, right? So he's going to share, and so he's going to share with us some of his story. And so again, if you're joining us, just pop into the comment section and say hello. Let us know you're here. Just put your name. Hello, I'm glad to be here. If you have any questions or comments, either one of us, you're certainly welcome to just drop those to the chat or into the comment bar. We'll be glad to respond. And we're just so happy that you joined us today in this refuge. Sort of look at what matters. Out of all the drama in the world going on right now, and there's still plenty of it. Don't just because we've got every time we're in one drama we get another one, but things are go better. But just think about we're here together, and thank you for your love and your support. And I cannot wait to hear Brendan tell us a little bit of his story and his share a little bit of his magic with us today. So Brendan, tell us a little bit about how you got here, and tell us a little bit about your year of the pandemic and where you are. Tell me where you are right now.
So I'm in the UK. I'm in the UK in a place called Herefordshire at the moment. I landed here about 2 weeks ago. But yeah, let's go back around 18 months ago, shall we?
Yeah.
Let's go back to about 18 months ago. So 18 months ago, where would I have been? So I would have been in a place called Guatemala in Central America. And I went there shortly after doing a performance contract out in Turkey, where I was a drag performer, something that I'd done for around 10 years on and off. And yeah, I went to Guatemala to what's called a Radical Fairy Sanctuary. And the Radical Fairies were a queer hippie group that started in the 60s, but has since then gone worldwide. And they do celebrate trans, queer, gender, bisexual people of all colours of the rainbow. And I decided to go and give myself a little bit of a retreat for 3 months. Liked the place so much that I decided to quit the drag job, as it wasn't bringing me the most excitement and the most happiness. And that was the end of it. I wasn't happy. I found something else that made me even more happy and more excited to be around. So I took that choice, and in taking that choice, a whole lot of other stuff then started to happen for me. So I ended up getting a job at a retreat center, which has always been a sort of a dream of mine. I went into the kitchen, which is another aspect of myself, my creative self. Learned how to cook plant-based foods, worked at events where there was no alcohol, which was fantastic for me, because that's sort of the one thing that I wanted to get away from when I was doing the drag circles, because it is very alcohol based. You know, you're around people that like to drink. It's a party atmosphere in holiday resorts. And I guess I was a bit fed up of that. And I knew that there was something else out there. And I found that in Guatemala at these no alcohol events where people are drinking hot chocolate and dancing the night away. And yes, so when the pandemic struck, the retreat center closed down. I found myself with no job. And as the universe would have it, I was gifted a course. And this course was in quantum healing hypnosis. Now, quantum healing hypnosis was something that has followed me around for around 4 or 5 years. It was always documentaries that were popping up on YouTube, or people that I was speaking to had practiced it and were wanting to offer me sessions. And I was a bit averse to it. And yeah, so I'd done a year's worth of listening to and watching these videos that these guys called Michael and Ron were doing at a place called New Earth Ascending. And in watching their videos, I then decided to take their course in IQH to become a practitioner and to train and to hold sessions for people. I finally completed the course, and in completing the course, had a huge awakening. And in the awakening process, I found that I was, unhappy where I was. I knew that I wanted to come back to the UK. So the decision was made to come back to the UK, and I came back to the UK. And instead of really holding true to myself and believing in the IQH, the hypnosis that I'd been practicing, I sort of quivered a little bit and jumped back into the care work that I was doing before I'd left the UK to do drag. And I joined as an activities coordinator, which was something different to what I'd done before. And I thought that I would really enjoy it, and that I'd be able to bring some of my entertainment value into the care homes, sort of into these people. And when I got there, the atmosphere was quite low. The staff are overworked. There aren't enough staff. There were a lot of residents, and yeah, I found it really difficult to enjoy the job, and ended up going on holiday, losing the job. The universe took the job away from me. Through no fault of my own. They decided they didn't want me to work for them anymore, and I was sort of left without a job. And that, to me, at the time, was like the universe saying to me, "You're not supposed to be in care at the minute. You're not supposed to be in care. You're supposed to be concentrating on yourself and concentrating on this hypnosis work that you're doing, you know, your passions." And the time came for me to go back into the hypnosis work, and another fear moment came in, and that it was a fear of not having money and the fear of having no stability, and that made me go back into care, which made me to then apply for another care job. And this time round, I was more aware of what the problem was. And you know, the problem was the fact that I wasn't looking after myself. And when I wasn't looking after my own emotional, physical, spiritual needs, I couldn't really look after the needs of others. And this was all done over a 3-month period with lots of meditation and lots of emotional release work. I practiced learning how to hold cacao ceremonies, so the spirit of cacao is involved as well, which is very heart opening and allows you to go in to really get to grips on what it is you want and what is your happiness. Now I actually came to the conclusion that me being in care and working in care homes wasn't good for me, because for one, I like to express myself in the way that I dress. I like to express myself in the way that I am all the time. And as an activities coordinator, I would like to have maybe gone in my own clothes and not had to wear a uniform, because my clothes do shed some kind of personality about me, and people do get some joy from looking at me and the things that I wear. That was one of the reasons. There was many other reasons that I don't wish to really go into today, but because yeah, that's not the point. The point is that once I come away from that, once I come away from the job and the thing that was making me unhappy, I was able to see that, yeah, I've actually done something that's really, really good for me. I've actually done something that's good for me for a change. I'm caring for myself for a change, and saying no to being overworked and to not having management listen to you when you go with grievances or when you have to whistleblow and things like that. All these serious things that should be taken seriously in the care sector, and unfortunately in some places they are not. And that's for fear of not having staff turn up for work, and for money reasons and all these different other aspects. And I sat there once I'd left, and I thought, well, my heart was in care, because I do have this innate ability to care. So who is that for? Where does that care need to be placed? Is it to be with the residents, or is it actually to the people that are caring for the residents? And that's where I came to this sort of epiphany and this conclusion that actually in me doing the self-help work that I've been doing, so the meditations, I do a lot of tarot readings, the IQH work, which is going deep into the subconscious mind to find out the limiting self belief patterns that we hold, and in the meditation that I did with you, Martin, to get hold of my mission statement. I found that by allowing myself to be me, I was then inspiring others in the way that I was loving. By allowing myself to be myself and to go around the world dressed like I am, acting like I am, giving care like I can.
Mm-hmm.
I see now that people are inspired by that, and they love that, and that's shedding love, that's spreading love, and to me that's one of the most happiest things that I could be doing.
Yeah, I love that. And what I'm hearing in this story is that we always we're on one journey. We're on the journey to make money, to have a career. We don't quite know what we're on, but we think, oh, I like caring for others. This might be an occupation that I could follow, and it would be something that I would enjoy doing. And then I would be able to make some money, and I'd be able to make a difference in the world. But what we find often on that outward journey is in another journey going on inside ourselves.
Mm-hmm.
And we hit a wall, and you hit something. What you hit was the awareness that I can't care for anybody else unless I love myself. And trying to be somebody that I'm not is not helping, because the further I get away from me, from my authentic self and my expression of myself, I think you said creative queer expression,
mm-hmm.
the less I'm able to love myself and less I'm able to love others. So the inspiring part of your story to me is that you're willing to say, I'm going to be me. And I'll tell you something. The closer you can be to being you in the world of caregiving, the more fun, the more enjoyable you'll have in the doing of it. And you'll probably be more successful, and you'll make more money. All of those things will above when we follow what I call the path of the heart. So the top journey is the one of going out for the job and the caregiving, and kind of in seek of trying to find yourself. That was sort of an external solution that was taking care of an external need to make money, to pay your bills, do those kind of things. But we always have at the same time something a little more real going on inside ourselves. I would call it a conflict, because there's a conflict between what our heads tell us we need to do, our egos, our shadows, and what our hearts want. So way I interpret this as someone who teaches shadow work and prosperity and mindset and how to live a life of love and joy and prosperity, is that when we hit that wall and we have that discovery, we find our authentic nature, and that's what people want us to bring more to the world. And we bring more of that to the world. That's how we serve. That's the path of the heart. But we have to sometimes go through a very difficult, challenging time in our lives in order to be able to have that, as you called it, epiphany.
Mm.
And there's someone named Kim Cousins. Is that a friend of yours?
That's my mother.
Oh, it's your mother. Hey, Mom. How are you doing? Good to see you. Kim is watching. She's here.
Yeah.
Kim, you have any questions for your son? I'm so glad to meet him. I'm so glad to meet you. Yeah, welcome, Mom. So back to your story.
Yeah.
So what are you doing right now? What is your day like today? What I know you were up in some woods and you kind of lost that place and you couldn't get to the internet. But what's a typical day now for Brendan? What do you enjoy doing today? How do you care for yourself, and what's your day look like?
Okay, so in doing some of the meditations that you've sort of sent to me and spoke to me about, and some of my own that I've done, I've been doing a lot of I call it inner child play. So getting rid of the word work and changing it for play. So I've been doing in the mornings at least 2 or 3 hours of practice, of play practice, which is where I do the things that I would have loved to have done when I was 3, maybe 4, 5 years old. I know that I was very, very expressive and imaginative, and I would love to dress up, and I'd love to sing and dance and play, like skip around. And yeah, now that I have the space and the ability to do that in the mornings, that's what I've been doing. And I found that just does me a whole world of good, in the sense of, like, getting out any kind of excess energy that needs to go, sort of lightening the mood. It also allows me to really focus on the things that make me happy. And then I find that I put those into the spiritual work that I'm doing, and the self-help work that I'm doing, and the notes that I'm now frantically taking, well, not frantically, but the notes that I'm taking down for the idea for this training course for carers, this self-help training course for carers to care for themselves before they care for the residents. And that's just basically breathing techniques, like meditative practices, guided meditations, angelic transmissions. For those people that are interested in archangels and crystals and things like that, I know I am. But the glitzy, the better, really. I think that's the magpie in me. So yeah, later on in the afternoon, what did I do today? So yeah, I like to go for walks in nature. So I spent at least an hour or two just by the river, watching the swans, listening to the swallows, taking a moment to breathe, taking a moment to give thanks for everything that I have right now. Sending compassion out to the universe. Just and really, really, really grounding myself and giving thanks for everything that's in front of me.
That's beautiful. What you're really doing is you're walking your talk. You had to you've taken some time out for you to really find out how you're taking a course. This is how I'm gonna make this story up a little bit for you. Is you're taking a course to give you something concrete. But what I'm hearing in your story is that you're spending some time with nature, with yourself, with your heart, to find out now once you learn these things, once you learn the sort of the techniques that you want to teach to others, the caregiving world, I am convinced that what's going to come out of your time out in the woods and out in nature, and is you're going to come up with a very unique way. It's only going to be for you, Brendan, and it's going to be very powerful. And you're going to show up for the caregivers in a way that nobody else is doing. Because you got the courage to be you. And that's what's going to inspire them. You show up, and I don't know what that looks like yet, and you probably don't either. That's what you're out in the woods trying to figure out. But I think it's going to be you're going to pull together that deep desire to be a performer, that deep desire to dress. That's going to be infused in the way you're going to help people.
Mm-hmm.
And that's kind of exciting, don't you think?
Yeah, I think that's absolutely brilliant. Oh, my friend Debbie's on as well.
Hey,
hi,
Debbie. See, you got the whole family here. Isn't that great?
Yeah.
Wonderful, beautiful, beautiful. So I'm a big believer in, at least for me, is what I call practicing the art of self-love. And as I know, as I was trying to during the pandemic figure out who I was going to be, how I was going to be a coach in the world, and who I would coach and who I would help and why I would do it. I had to take some time too. I had to take some time in Puerto Rico at the beach and just meditate and be with Martin and read and listen to the world. And I'm going to share one interesting story with you, and you might want to try something like this yourself. I started something early last summer. All my clients wanted me to she's saying, hey darling, hey Deborah. Last year about this time, all of my clients, I've always, part of what I teach as part of my coaching practice is contemplative prayer and the power of prayer to empower ourselves. And so I had a lot of clients that, well, how do you meditate? They wanted to learn, they wanted me to teach them. So I went on, I was going to create a course on how to meditate. And as I began to open this thing up and begin to practice it myself, what I was going to be teaching, all of a sudden I began to journal and write, and I began to practice the art of self-love. I began to actually practice, and all of a sudden I call it the art of practice, the art of being present, and bringing presence into my life. And you know what? Over the summer, I really got good at it. And the whole idea was learning the art of presence, learning the art of self-love. It put me in a place to, so the next part of it is, why would you want to do that? And for me, it was, so I can live a life of love, joy, and prosperity. That's my tagline. So you can live a life of love, joy. And about the end of the summer, I was truly living a life of love, joy, and prosperity. And I realized that when I began to actually turn this summer's worth of work into a video. And I'm going to send you, it's a 2-part video course on practicing the art of being present. And I'll be happy to, anybody who wants, it's always there's a copy of it available, by the way, in the Financial Mystic Sanctuary filing cabinet.
Yeah,
and it's my very first video that I created. So it's a little rough around the edges, but it's a good point. But I want to tell you that once I began to practice it, like I think you're doing now, you're going to come out with your very unique way of teaching caregivers how to care for themselves so they can give better care.
Yeah, absolutely. I can see it. I can see, even in looking into like the future spiritual vision for myself, and then the future spiritual vision for the collective as well. Obviously, it's important to have that self down first before the collective. And the collective has come naturally on its own from that, in doing that.
Right, because the collective is coming into you, and now you're putting it back out. But you've got to give yourself enough space and time, like you're doing out in the woods and walking in nature and meditating and learning these different modalities, in order for you to be able to open that up inside you and cultivate that within yourself before you can bring it to the world.
Yeah. I'm just reading that, sir. Hello, John and Mayan. Hi.
Your family is growing in the time that we're here together today.
Yeah, that's extended family. That's the 2 lovely, gorgeous people I used to live with in Turkey when I was doing the drag contract out in Turkey. Yeah, second mum and dad.
Tell us one story about your life as a drag performer.
One story.
One that really might be something unexpected happened. What did you learn about yourself as a drag performer?
So I remember it was the first time I ever did drag. So I was in my last year of college. I come home, and you know how it is between like mothers and their children when it's college, and it's like, you should get a job. Like, it's almost summer, you need to get a job for the summer. And I said, well, I might have one. And Mum was like, what do you mean? And I was like, you'll find out tonight. Like, come to the New Union on Canal Street, which is like the gay village in Manchester, where I'm from. I said, just come tonight and you'll find out. and they were having a drag contest. So they were having like a competition to find like the next drag person that was going to be in their to star in their show. And yeah, I on the way there, I couldn't quite believe what I'd done. I couldn't quite believe that. I was like, no, you've invited your mum, and like this is the first time that you're going to do it. Like, I'd only like briefly rehearsed the numbers, like because I was busy doing a college show as well at the same time, so everything was slightly rushed. But yeah, there was something in me, like it was higher self that was just like, no, you're going to do this. You're going to ace it. You're going to win. Like this is going to be brilliant. You're so exciting. You're so excited. You should just go for it. So I did, and I went and got on the stage. And I remember coming out to do, I think it was Eliza Minnelli, Mine Hair, and just seeing my mum's silhouette right at the back of the bar, just before it was due to start the number. And yeah, I guess that was like because my mum had seen me perform in lots of things before then, but that was the first moment that she'd ever seen me perform as a woman, as you know, as this fantastic drag character I wanted to be. Yeah. So my name was Asbo. Yeah. Which stands for something quite not nice in British British law. But yeah, I felt extremely proud of myself for getting up on that stage and doing it in front of my mum at the back, and really feeling all the guts and the the gusto that I had, and really feeling like I can do this. I felt really strong.
Yeah, it takes a lot of courage to get up and do something like that. And what you found, you have a lot of courage in you. You faced all your fears in that one moment, and you had a breakthrough.
Yeah.
And you said, I can do this. And you did it for a while until it became something and you were fab at it. And your mom says you're fab at it. Deborah says you're fab at it. Deborah is your friend.
I loved it. Yeah, I really loved all the drag performances that I did. But yeah, my passion was definitely to involve my drag and sort of merge my drag with my spiritual side and the spiritual work that I do. And I guess in taking this time for myself, which I'm doing right now, I'm already seeing like notebooks fill up with lots of ideas, and I feel like this summer is going to be a really, really creative summer where I'm able to just be me.
Yeah, as we move into what I might call the age. Well, it is the age of Aquarius, which is the age of the divine feminine. It's the age of the woman, and it's not gender. And so when I'm looking at you, I'm seeing both the divine. I'm seeing the divine feminine. You are representing the divine feminine in all of us. And the divine feminine is the part that cares.
Mm.
It's empathy. It's compassion. And for you to be able to represent that as with your both male features of a beard, and you're clearly a man, and at the same time to incorporate the feminine parts of the way you dress and the way you put yourself out there, it's really quite extraordinary and unique. And I think there's something in that that's going to really move you into the forefront of what you're going to be doing, and you're going to be one of the. And the thing about it, you'll know you're doing the right thing because you'll be on the road by yourself.
Yeah.
There will be no one doing. There's no one doing what you're doing. There's no one doing what I'm doing out there. I post things all the time out there into like LinkedIn world, which is a very corporate world, and I'll put things like out there like about. I'm out there. I'm a coach for the gay and the bi and the transgender male community, and I'm putting things out on LinkedIn that nobody's doing. I'm asking questions like, how are you aware of your divine queer nature on LinkedIn? It's about one of the most conservative, but I know they're out, and I get the funniest responses from people. So, but I'm clearly one of the few coaches out there that putting that kind of provocative content out in the universe for us to consider. Because I believe very strongly that while we have this conversation, it is in our divine queer nature that create where we get excited, whatever that is, that's where our creative genius is. And so the more as you're out in the woods and you're meditating, you're opening that creative queer genius within yourself, that authentic queer nature that you have. And that's where your power is going to, I mean, that's how you're going to influence others. It's kind of fun, right?
It's fun. It feels fun. It feels great.
And guess what? Can you believe it? It's 1:30.
Wow, that flew.
I know it always does. It always does. It's just so now we're going to do our meditation. We do a meditation here every day for those of you who are guests who've never been here before. This is a noonday meditation and contemplative prayer power hour. And the power is entertaining as Brenda and I have been. That's not where the power is. The power is in you. And we're going to, if you'll stick around for the next 20 minutes, you will experience and you will discover that same power in you that Brendan and I are talking about. And maybe you already know that, but we're going to take some time, but we're going to take some time right now, about 20 minutes. And I'm going to walk you through a specific type of meditation or prayer. It's called centering prayer. And it means to simply center everything in our whole being around the heart. The heart becomes the grounding beginning spot of everything. I'm going to put Brendan on mute because he's got some traveling going on. There we go. So he's got some trucks driving around, I think, upstairs or something. So it's called centering prayer. And it looks like this. We're going to get still. We're going to use the breath. We're going to have a bell. We're going to have a breath that's going to bring us inside ourselves. We're going to let go of the outside world. We're going to get still. We're going to use our breath to take us deeper inside ourselves. We're going to feel our way deeper into our emotions, whatever you're feeling. So I want to invite you right now, just be aware of what you might be feeling. What emotions? Are you feeling happy? Are you feeling glad? Are you feeling sad? Are you feeling shame? Whatever that is, kind of feel it right now as we start this. Become aware of your interior landscape, if you will. How are you feeling on the inside, emotionally, physically? You know, really instead of being out there, go inside for a few moments. We're going to spend 20 minutes going inside. And we're going to use the breath, and we're going to slow down the mind. You cannot, then we'll teach meditation, you're going to stop thinking. Well, that's impossible. You're never going to stop thinking. You can't stop thinking. As long as you're alive, you're going to think. Because that's what our brilliant minds do, they think. But we can slow it down enough to get some space around the thoughts. And those little tidbits of grace are quite lovely. Did you hear the bell? Allow that bell to take you a little more, the vibration of that bell. Feel the bell taking you a little deeper inside. And one of the ways we slow down the brain, slow down the mind, is we reverse engineer something. Whenever we're thinking, our tongues are vibrating slightly. So if we slow down, we consciously slow down the vibration of the tongue, we will also slow down the thoughts in our head. And the best way to do that is to take the tip of your tongue and rest it on the roof of your mouth, just behind your front teeth. Slightly part your lips and begin to breathe naturally through your mouth and through your nose, and gently massage your tongue with your breath. So just do that for a few moments. Just the mind is thinking, massage the tongue, and just feel the joy of breathing and relaxing and letting go, and just massaging the tongue with your breath for a few minutes. And just breathe. Feel the breath gently sliding over the tongue as it comes in the mouth and the nose, down the throat, opening the heart, pulling it deep into the belly as an anchor, and then going back out. Just the natural rhythm of breathing. And allow your mind to focus on the breath and the massaging of your tongue. And just allow yourself to get still and truly focused on your primary purpose for the next 20 minutes. Is just simply to breathe and gently massage your tongue. And if a thought comes up and you find yourself in thinking, which we do, just let it go and come back to the breath and gently massaging the tongue. Now we're going to do 3 what I call belly breaths to create just some more interior landscape space. Just some more space out of our head and into our hearts. And it looks like this. We're going to do 3 of these. They're called belly breaths. And with the belly muscles, we're going to pull the breath in through the mouth and through the nose, across the tongue, down the throat, opening the heart, opening the rib cage, expanding, and then pulling the breath deep into our belly and expanding the belly and holding it for just a second and letting it go. So you ready? Okay. With your belly muscles, pull the breath in, massage the tongue, open up the heart. Now really pull that breath deep into your belly and hold it for just a second. And when it gets a little uncomfortable, just let it all go. And as you let the breath go, let go of every thought, let go of every opinion, every judgment you're making up about yourself, you're making up about Brendan, you're making up about me, you're making up about the world. Let everything go. Hold on to nothing and just come back to massaging the breath. Allow the mind's eye to see the breath gently massaging the tongue, and imagine the tongue slowing down, relaxing, welcoming the breath. Feel that breath anchor deep inside your belly. We're going to do another belly breath. Just pull the breath in through the mouth, through the nose, down the throat, and deep into the belly. Ready? Pull it in. Open the heart. Expand the rib cage. Really let it really fill up the belly. Now let it go. Let it go with that bell. Let every remaining thought, opinion, belief, whatever you believe is good or bad, right or wrong, let all of that go. Any worries, any stories, any problems, just surrender them to the divine within yourself. Just come back to the breath and the gentle massaging of your tongue. Allowing the tongue to get still, allowing the mind to be still. Allowing the divine, the presence, the grace of God to be present. Just be present to yourself. Just be present to the love within yourself, that infinite love, that infinite light of love, that creative genius, infinite, creative love consciousness, our essence. Just allow yourself to gently fall back into that. Let go of the reins of control. Let go of any need to know anything. And just imagine yourself falling gently into the comforting arms of the cloud of unknowing. The comforting arms of the Divine Mother within us that cares for us and loves us so that we can love and care for others. Feel your way into that space. And we're going to do one more belly breath. Just one more. And then I'm going to be silent for the rest of the meditation, except for the interval bells that are going to wake us up from our thinking so we can just reset and fall back into love. So now with your belly muscles, pull the breath in through the mouth and the tongue and the nose. Gently bring it across the tongue. Open up your heart, and with your belly muscles, really expand the belly and pull the breath deep, deep, deep inside yourself as an anchor. Ready? Oh, soften everything, let everything go. Hold on to nothing. Allow yourself to gently fall back into infinite, infinite love. Oh, there's the sweet sound of that interval bell. It's here to wake us up from our thinking, our worrying, our sleeping. And the invitation is just to open your hearts a little wider with gratitude for that brilliant mind, all the thinking that it does, and just let it go and fall back into the gentle, loving arms of the Divine Mother. Oh, there's the sound, the sweet sound of that interval bell to wake us up from our thinking, our planning, our worrying, maybe even our sleeping. Whatever thought trail we're on, just let it go. And open your heart of gratitude for that brilliant mind and all the thinking and the worrying it does, and just let it go. And gently allow yourself to soften and fall back into the nurturing, loving, caring arms of the Divine Mother. And that's our final bell. That's to bring us back into this space, into this reality. So, Brendan, tell us where you are. Tell us how you're feeling.
I feel light. Sure.
Yeah, it's nothing like empowering ourselves with a little love during the day, right?
Absolutely.
How about your family out there? And you have I wonder how many stuck around for the meditation. It's hard to get people. I lose people every time.
Do you?
Every time we lose people in the meditation.
It'll catch on eventually.
The last thing our egos, our shadows want to do is to get quiet, because that's what surrender is. They're giving it. You're having to say, you got to give up control for us. But the beauty of doing this every single day for 20 minutes is it becomes a mantra. So once I start in the morning that way, and it doesn't take a whole lot of effort really anymore for me. I've been doing it for 40 years. So for me, it's if I find myself kind of struggling, or I'm kind of obsessing on something, a thought, maybe my assistant didn't show up for something or something, and I'm like, obsessing over it, I'll just let it go. Let it go. Don't control anything. Just let it go. It doesn't mean anything. And I'll let it go. And all of a sudden I'm back into heart space. So I'm empowered again. I'm not, when I start obsessing over something not happening the way I wanted it to happen, I give up my power to it. The way I get my power back is I simply say something like, I just tell myself to let it go. It means nothing in the bigger scheme of my life.
Yeah.
Just let it go. That's my mantra. Just let it go. Let it go. So, Brendan, if people want to get, first of all, thank you so much for coming on and
it's a pleasure
seeing you today and sharing your story with me and sharing your story with your family and bringing your family here to join us. And thank you for joining us here today, Kim and Deborah. And let's see who else came in. Marin, Marjon, Mayan. Thank you all of you for being here. It was great to have you. Those of you who typed into the chat, great to have you and get to meet you here. And if people want to find you, Brendan, what's the quickest, easiest, and the easiest to remember way to find you?
They can get me on my Facebook page, which is Illumine Us Truth.
Okay, very good. That's where they'll look for you. And in the hold on, I'm going to close this all out. I'm going to just let people know about have a few announcements that I want to make, and then we're going to close out.
Awesome.
Okay. So, as I said before, I'm a spiritual teacher and a prosperity and mindset coach for the gay, transgender, and bisexual men, helping entrepreneurs and successful entrepreneurs get out of their own way so they can cultivate an abundance mindset so they can generate more money, break through that revenue ceiling that we all have because we think we're limited in what we can produce and what we can create. And there's no limitation. As a matter of fact, the less we hold on to stuff, let go, the bigger we can grow, and we need to live big. So I've created a Facebook group, which is where I met Brendan, called Financial Heart Space for Gay, Transgender, and Bisexual Men. Please join us over there if that's you. We'd love to have you. And I do a workshop there every Wednesday at 1:00, along with other great things. And it's just a community where we come together to love and support each other in the building and the growth of our businesses. And it's for our tribe. It's just for gay and transgender bisexual men. But not everybody fits into that category. So I have another place for you, and I have a very special event coming up for you, for everybody, this Saturday at 1:00 Eastern Daylight Time in the United States. And it's called the Financial Mystics Sanctuary. And you can come into that group. And this Saturday, and you'll see a link, you can register for a 1-hour workshop on how to free yourself from the scarcity mindset so you can live a life of love, joy, and prosperity. And I have a workbook. It's called the Financial Heart Space Problem Solving Workbook. And you get a free copy of the workbook, and you can bring your problem. And I'm going to teach you exactly how to solve it using the spiritual principles, the same spiritual principles you would find in 12-step recovery programs. So it's a very powerful process, and it's what I teach. It's a core principle to what I work with, and I'm going to be teaching it for free this Saturday at 1:00 Eastern Daylight Time. So please, it's in the Financial Mystic Sanctuary Facebook group. Join us and tune in live, and there's also a link there that you can join us on Zoom. Okay, that's going to be this Saturday. So in the meantime, may love and prosperity prevail across the globe. Thank you for joining us today.